It's Clark and Perry on the case. Da-na-na-na. Clark and Perry do what it takes. Da-na-na-na. Clark and Perry investigate.
The activities and interests of local artists in the Windy City's finest throughout both Lethbridge and Medicine Hat, Alberta. Available on TELUS, Optic TV, On Demand, VidFlex, YouTube, and more for limited time only. Terms and conditions apply.
Da-na-na-na.
I asked you earlier, what do you need more of in your life? You said time.
Yeah.
So in contrast to that, what do you need less of in your life?
I think that like the first thing that comes to mind is stress.
Yeah.
But I feel like I've been doing a lot to work on sort of stress. And I actually, I'm going kind of on this train, but follow me along here.
That's okay.
But,
we're along for the ride.
I did some work at the Alberta Healthy Living Program some years ago as an OT, and there's a class on reducing your stress. But it's not actually reducing your stress, because stress is what makes us get up in the morning. Like stress has a bad name, but it's just energy that makes us move. Yeah. And so what we need to be thinking about more is reducing our negative responses to those stresses.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. And so like, it's kind of like we're still programmed like cavemen that, you know, when the lion comes and we do that fight or flight, but now it's like the email comes and we do the fight or flight. And so we need to like reprogram ourselves so that we're not acting in that same way. And so I've been doing a lot of work on that in the past few years. So yeah, like, of course, you know, it'd be great if there wasn't as much negativity, but I don't really feel like I need to reduce that. So.
But I think I understand what you're saying as well too. Like I listen. There's an inspirational speaker named John C. Maxwell. He's like a pastor in the States, but he says he always follows the do it now policy. When you get that email and you have that fight or flight response, you get this energy, and that is your energy to follow through and deal with it right then and there. Because if you don't and you decide to flight from it, it's just going to have more emails topped.
Well, and then you're laying in bed going, what am I going to say about that email? And you're not sleeping, and then the next morning somebody talks to you and you're like, what if they ask me about that email? Like it builds into this crazy thing.
So that's very interesting that you've taken like a particular interest into stress. Does this have anything to do with your interest and your love and your passion for occupational therapy?
Yes and no. I have worked in like nearly every area of OT in Medicine Hat. I just haven't worked with kids. Right. But like OTs are in all areas of life. And so I was lucky enough to be able to have some years of work at the Alberta Healthy Living Program, which is a very amazing program that's free for all Albertans, that has classes on sleep and stress and managing your energy if you've got a chronic condition, and exercise programs. Amazing. And like there's so many things. And so because of my time that I spent there, then obviously I gleaned some knowledge, and like I really enjoyed teaching some of those group classes to clients, because there was a lot of like those aha moments. And sleep-wise in particular too. Like,
I was about to say, you mentioned sleep classes. How do you study sleep? Is it more of just what it does to you?
So many people have trouble falling asleep. And so you can take a class for free that teaches you different strategies and ways that you can improve your sleep, both the quality and the quantity.
It makes a lot of sense too, because I think the only strategy I have is one, be tired and then go to sleep, or B, count sheep, and that's never worked for me. So
well, when you say,
I think Perry's also waving in the back too, being like, I struggle with it too.
When you say being tired, like if you're out and about and doing things and you know, burning up some of that energy, then it does help you to sleep, right? Sometimes people that have a chronic condition or something, they're not able to
burn as much energy,
and then they're having a nap through the day, and there's a lot of components that build up to it, as well as that overthinker sleep person, right?
I can also be that too. That's understandable.
So there's like 3 hours of classroom activity that you can learn about sleep if you want. I can
And
sign you up.
And you learned all of that during your occupational therapy course as well too?
Like my degree?
Yeah.
No, I learned none of that in my degree.
None of that during the degree.
I just had an OT student, and he was like, I didn't learn any of this in school. I was like, no, you learn all of it when you're working.
Yes. Yeah. More practical, right?
Absolutely.
So I'm actually, if you're all right, just diving a little bit more into this talk. I'm sure we'll have more to talk about during the next feature as well too. But when it comes to occupational therapy, you mentioned that you've worked just about with everybody except for kids.
Yeah.
What is everybody except for kids?
Well, I've worked on the medical unit of the hospital and the orthopedic unit of the hospital, like you have surgery or something like that, and the mental health unit of the hospital. And I work part of my time now with hand injuries. And I worked driving around to people's houses. And I work right now part of my time on this specialized team called the home rehab team. That's like OT, PT, rec therapy, social work.
Wow.
That do like the whole wraparound in somebody's house.
Yeah.
I've driven out to Bow Island and done stuff there in long-term care. The Alberta Healthy Living Program. I've worked in the bariatric clinic for a little bit, like with people that have weight management things. Because when you think about that, stress, sleep, that all impacts your weight, right?
Yeah.
But have I forgotten anything? I don't know. Like
no, that is no. You've painted quite the broad picture when it comes to this. When it comes to this degree as well too, and when it comes to this practice. No, I actually, like, just come to think about it, I'd never really, I remember when we first did our like intro interview to tell you about this project and all that stuff too, I didn't know what an OT was.
Yeah, people don't. They're like, I don't need help finding a job.
I was like, overtime? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
But no, I'm just kind of like really excited to kind of learn a little bit more about this and show our viewers, hey, it's not
the best career.
Yeah, if you're struggling with sleep, there are some free courses to help you sleep.
Yeah.
No, that's amazing as well too.
It's basically like we look at a person and we're like, what challenges are you having in your life? Like self-care, productivity, leisure, like mental health. And then let's see if I can help you to work through some of those things.
Just
like, so it's different
yeah.
every patient, every day, everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So were you inspired to take OT? Like, what inspired you to take OT, occupational therapy, as a course, as a degree, as a passion?
So I got a degree in psychology, but I knew that I never wanted to be a counseling psychologist because that just wasn't for me. Yeah. And then my sister is a physiotherapist. Okay. And so physios and OTs take a lot of their courses together.
I was going to ask for the difference. Yeah.
Oh, yes. And so she said, I think that you would be a good OT. You remind me of my friends from OT. And it's kind of like OTs are really in the gray zone, like black and white. Like we have to problem solve, think outside the box. Like I'm always like, what makes you tick? How can I help you to steer in, like make your life better? How can I, like we're always sort of in that problem solving realm of things. So she thought I would like it. I looked it up. I was like, I'm sold. It's hard to get into. I got in and I was the last year of it being a 3-year program. Then it became a 2-year program, like degree 2 years first and then 2 years in OT school. Yeah. And now it's a master's. Wow.
And do you find that psychology was kind of the catalyst that brought you to that happy medium?
Like I was really interested in psychology because I like how people like work.
What make people tick, right?
Yeah. But OT is so much more broad than that. And I think it fits me better because it's got, like they say that it's a real mix between art and science. Yeah. Because we know anatomy, like I did a cadaver in university, all that kind of stuff. Like we're well versed in the human body and that type of thing. But there's also that art of applying it to life. Yeah. So when you asked about the difference between a physio and an OT, like a really concrete thing is So you have a problem with your arm. You have a bicep tendon surgery, say.
Sure.
So physio is going to make sure you can move your elbow joint all the way and your wrist joint. And they're going to make sure that you can strengthen your bicep.
Yeah.
And OT is going to say, what do you do with your arm? How do you eat?
Yeah.
Can you comb your hair? Do you need, like we kind of apply the injury or the condition to how it's affecting your life.
Yeah.
To help you to get back
to kind of get back into rehabilitation and to
yeah.
your own regular life and society as well too. So no, that's okay, that makes a lot more sense. It's more of the physio is more of just strengthening the muscle and keeping it direct in like these one motions.
And not just like physios do a lot of great things, and they're like, you know, they know the human body so well, and you know, assessing your joints and mobilizing your hips and like all that kind of stuff, but I'm always thinking about function. Yeah. Like what does that do for you in life? Like you broke your hip, you know, like how do you cook? What are you doing for cleaning? You know, do you need a wheelchair? Like those kinds of like, you know, what do you want to do in your day? And how can I help you to do that? Yeah, the practical, the real life. No, I find that quite interesting as well too. It seems very left-brained, but also very right-brained at the same time. Yeah. Because you have to really ask the person about their life and how it kind of affects them directly as the individual. That's the key. Is like finding out about them and what they want. No, that's amazing. So one question that I have for you as well too, I have a few more, but one to get us started off again on another topic of conversation is who would stick out as an early inspiration for you? I've got a lot of great family members. Like I had a really nice childhood. And I've already sort of like on my mom and how, you know, she was like always a fan and, you know, like encouraging us and stuff. But I think my grandpa was a big part of my upbringing too. So my grandparents lived like a block away from us. And so when my sister and I were in elementary school, we would walk over to my grandparents' house for lunch every day. And my grandpa was on a medical leave from work. And so every day he made us mushroom soup and tuna sandwiches for lunch every single day. Every single day. Yeah, we never tired of it. I doubt that. No, honestly. And he was just always there. He was like a big presence in my upbringing. He he gave me my first vehicle, and he, like, when my parents were working, like my granny and grandpa both, but because my granny was working, like my grandpa was a big part of my upbringing. So it's very important to have those like early positive influences as well too. They really set you up for expectations and other experiences, right? Because one thing that we've talked about before, I think, on this show, is it's all about layers, right? So like if you have a bunch of bad experiences setting up your base, it doesn't really set up for success later in life as well too. No, that's good. My grandpa had a stroke. Well, he had a couple strokes, but he had a big stroke when I was in OT school. And he became, he was in a wheelchair, and he actually lost his ability to speak, but he could still sing because it's different parts of your brain. Wow. Yeah. And he could interact with his eyes. Right. So yeah, it was really. That is an interesting way of communication right there as well. That's, that's something that people could write a thesis on. Yeah. I mean, he couldn't sing like, I need to go to the bathroom. No. He could like sing along to a song or whatever. Of course. He could harmonize like no other. Yeah. Well, it's important to remember those good memories as well too, right? Okay, well, actually, kind of speaking on going through a stressful time, your grandfather having a couple of these strokes, or even nowadays more applicable to your everyday life in present time, how do you cope when things get tough? I am a big exerciser. Exercise. Yes, and even like when I get home from work, if I'm like, ugh, what a day, my husband will be like, please just go for a run. Yeah. So that's definitely one of my biggest stress relievers is exercise, like
Mhm.
pounding the pavement.
Yeah.
I also find that arts helps. Like, you know, if I'm in that flow state and I'm not thinking about what happened in the day, I'm just
Mhm.
working on making a mug or something, like that really helps. And then I'm a meditator.
Are you?
I am.
Excellent.
Yes.
Oh, what? I guess it's a weird way to say it, but like, what do you meditate about? Well, I guess what is the theory behind it?
As little as possible.
But I guess what theory or what practice bases your meditation?
So I've done a lot of different types of meditations,
Mhm.
and I've always been quite drawn to it because I like the way that I feel when I am able to calm myself down. So yeah, one time I did a 10-day silent meditation retreat, like 10 days of no talking, no gestures, no eye contact. That was like boot camp. Like I went in hard on that,
Whoa.
but I couldn't keep that up. But yeah, so my husband and I actually have both been doing a daily meditation, typically together, since January 1st of 2022. So it's been a year and a half.
Wow. And
so we're easygoing about it, because
Yeah.
if you make it stressful, then that's not whatever.
Yeah.
So we try to do between 10 and 20 minutes of a guided, like we use an app, and we'll pick like either a music one or a guided one. And if we're really busy in a day and we can't get to it till nighttime, then we'll do a sleep related meditation. But I think that's helped me a lot when I talk about all that stress management stuff.
Yeah,
I think that's
yeah.
one of the things.
It helps clear your mind and
Yeah.
get you ready for the day, depending on what time you
it
take
helps
this
just
out.
kind of bring you down.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And reinsert that control as well too, because life can get hectic. If you get a little too left brained on something, you kind of forget sometimes that taking a breath can help.
I'm just gonna plug another Alberta Healthy Living program. But
Do it.
There's another free class called Heart Math.
Heart Math.
Heart Math, which is like this super research. There's actually lots of scientific research about this in the moment meditation, not meditation, but in the moment technique to help to bring you down, to help to get you a little bit calmer. Because a lot of the stress reduction techniques are like things, like have a bath or go exercise or whatever. But like you're fighting with your kid and you can't just like have a bath.
Yeah. You can't just, see you later.
These are like things that you can use. Like I could be doing it right now. I should be maybe.
No, that's and a lot more practical as well too. It kind of gives you those tools, those options that you can actually take. No, that's kind of okay. All right. I think Dan or Perry and I are going to have to be taking some notes as well too on what courses to be taking. No, that's excellent. I had a question right off the top of my head, but I lost it because I kept talking.
You were so excited.
I got so excited, but I'm sure it'll come back to me here in a moment. But I guess, those don't feel like they're on topic. Let's do this one. How did you feel about where you grew up?
Oh, well, I grew up here.
Yeah.
And I live here still.
Yeah.
So I think that speaks for itself.
I think it does. I
I love Medicine Hat.
Yeah.
I am like a rah Medicine Hat person.
Yeah.
And I've lived in other places, but what I like about Medicine Hat is that it's a really great size to be able to drive anywhere in 15 minutes. And it's really upping its culture vibe. Like there's way more things going on than when I was a kid.
That is something that I think Perry and I haven't necessarily done as much justice for, but everybody seems to talk about the enriching culture that is here. And that's something I think we have done justice, is that people are still very excited about what goes on here. And there's lots of different options and things to do at this space.
There's so much to do here. And then the weather. It's like Lethbridge, but hotter and not as windy.
Yeah. Okay.
Right?
Perry, let's take some notes.
Yeah, it's the best.
Yeah.
We have the most hours of sunshine out of anywhere in Canada.
That's right. I think I heard that southern Alberta was like the sunniest area in Canada, practically.
I think Medicine Hat. I'm cutting you out.
Oh, Lethbridge is out of here. Medicine Hat is in, taking the title. Okay.
Yeah, I love, so I live pretty central.
Yeah.
So I used to walk to work every day. My husband walks to work. I can't walk to work every day now because I drive to people's houses, so I need a car.
Right.
But we walk downtown. I walk to the pottery studio. I can bike to my parents' house in 15 minutes. It's awesome.
No, and that's what I found and what I love about this series as well too, and the whole purpose of us doing this behind it is that we find that Lethbridge and Medicine Hat are kind of those small town, big city energies type thing. There's a lot of stuff going on that can keep people very busy and engaged. Yeah. You just need to stick around and talk to some folks as well too, right? So how did you get involved with the Potters Association here?
Well, that was easy because my mom was already involved.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And so the rule is that you have to have at least one beginner class, pottery class under your belt. We don't teach there, but we have there's lots of classes at the clay community here in Medicine Hat.
Yeah.
And then, you can become a member and get the door code, and then the rest is history.
The rest is history. You make some clay or you make some pottery and all that,
and our club is great. So we have really, because we're a city subsidized club, it's important, in my opinion, it's important to give back to the community because we're a small group of people that are receiving some community funding. And so I don't ever want people to, City Hall to cut our funding because they think, what are these people adding to the community?
Yeah.
So we actually try to do different fundraisers each year to be able to give back. So one of the biggest things that we have been doing is up until COVID, we had a summer chili cook-off. And so all the downtown businesses will make big pots of chili, and then you can go down there and pay $5 for a chili bowl and then taste them all and vote for which one you like the best. And so our club would make between 600 and 1,000 ceramic chili bowls.
Wow.
And then instead of paying $5 for a styrofoam chili bowl, you could pay $10 for a pottery chili bowl that you can keep.
And you can reuse as well too, because nobody likes those wasteful one-use plates and everything, right? Come on,
and then the money, we gave the downtown people a cut, and the rest of the money would go toward a food-related charity. So oftentimes the food bank or one of those different types of charity. And so over the years, we raised it would typically be around $2,500 an event that we would give to charity. And then this past year, we just made beer steins. We've got a couple breweries in town. And so we made all these individual, different beer steins, and we had the breweries sell them with a fill.
Ooh.
And then the money went towards the Santa Claus Fund, which is a charity that gives gifts to underprivileged people for Christmas.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so we try to do things that are community-minded.
Yeah. Well, and that, I guess, will come up to my last question for this part of the session as well, too. What do you feel pottery has in relevance to the Medicine Hat community? It's a big question. I think we touched a little bit onto it.
Yeah.
But I'd like to know a little bit more.
Well, I think in general, pottery is the history of Medicine Hat. Having Medelta potteries here was the biggest industry in Medicine Hat for a long time. So I think we've got really deep roots here. And our club really does try to do a lot of things to bring back or give back to the community. So yeah, I think it's there's all this intertwined love about pottery here in Medicine Hat.
Yeah. No, that's and it's all about giving back and maintaining, actually, I guess, this prestige of Medicine Hat. Well, hopefully it stays super sunny. I appreciate the time that you've given us so far, but thank you once again. This has been the Windy City's Finest. I'm Clark. He's Perry. We've been joined by Don Olson, and who will be back just soon. Stay tuned.
It's Clark and Perry on the case. Clark and Perry, do what it takes. Clark and Perry, investigate.
The activities and interests of local artists in the Windy City's finest throughout both Lethbridge and Medicine Hat, Alberta. Available on TELUS, Optic TV, On Demand, VidFlex, YouTube, and more for limited time only. Terms and conditions apply.